Hi there. Tonight we're going to cook a corned beef brisket on my 30-year-old Brinkmann Smoke N Grill bullet smoker. I'm going to make a barley rice pilaf and then some fried cabbage. So why don't you hang around for my belated birthday and St. Patrick's Day dinner. For this one, I'm going to use the 12-inch filter. There's what they look like. Black and catfish got nice crust. Yep, so I am setting up my camp kitchen for the early spring season. Getting a late start on it because it's been pretty cold today. And it's probably 35 right now and a little breeze blowing. But over the winter, I kind of restored. I sanded it down as best I could, repainted it, and put new bolting hardware and stuff on there, and like almost everybody else, I put an additional temperature gauge on my old Brinkmann bullet smoker. You know, for back here in base camp and stuff, it'll be a pretty good one for smoking some food, and you know, small enough to grill up some hamburgers or something too if I wanted to. Back at the house, I've got my regular smoker, so it was really just something that was taking up space in the shed, and thought that I could put it to some use again. So we're going to use that for the first time in quite some time. Like I said, and I'm going to spend much of my day getting camp set up. I've got some trees down from last winter's windstorm and stuff, so I'm going to be spending a lot of time back here this spring anyhow. And then my wife and I, who we don't always get decent days off together, so we'll get like one day or so together for all our little adventuring at Land Between the Lakes and stuff we're going to do. We'll just come back here and do our dinner back here in camp. So that's my spring intentions back here. And once I get my coals going, warm enough to preheat the smoker, then we'll come back and get started. Okay, so I got a couple pieces of cherry from a tree that came down a couple years ago back here. I'm going to use that. It's going to be a nice mild wood. And let me get my corned beef. Okay, so I got this 3.5 pound point cut corned beef brisket. And oops, guess I need the grill, don't I? Let me get that. Alright. Need you for later. So I'm going to let him go about 3.5 hours. I'm going to try to hold it right there in that 250 degree range, 250, 275. And then finish setting up my camp back here. I'll periodically check on them throughout the day, and then I'll be back when we're getting ready to cook some of the other parts of the meal. Okay, so I'm making a bit of an executive decision here. I know I said earlier that we were going to fry some cabbage, and I would still like to, but as you can see, I'm not nearly as set up as I would have liked to have been at this point. I'm fixing to pull the corned beef off of the smoker. What we're going to do is we're going to let it cook another hour or so still. Probably hour and a half. But I'm going to pull it from there, put it in this pan with some water around it, seal it up with foil. So I thought what I would do, as I'm still trying to get myself set up inside here, is quarter of my cabbage, peel up some carrots and cut them in half, make a little bed of those, and that will give us also enough cabbage and carrots for left overnight with the corned beef. And then I'll come back as that's cooking on the smoker. We'll get the camp stove out and then make the barley pilaf. Okay, so let's see how our brisket looks. Ooh, he looks really good. Okay. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get a little salt and pepper for the cabbage and the carrots. Got them at a Dollar General a couple weeks ago. Not bad find for just a couple bucks. They're going to work out good here. Yeah. She can salt it or some more. Some pickling spice. Just a little bit of red wine vinegar, mostly for the cabbage. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much going to be it there. And got some water with a beef bouillon cube in it. We're going to kind of come up part way on the meat, help keep it moist. And we're going to hopefully steam the cabbage and the carrots. Yeah. I think I'm going to like this setup location a lot more than last year's. It's quite a bit flatter. Of course, it's not perfect, but it's a lot flatter than it was. So maybe I won't complain as much. And let's see. He will. This up pretty good. And back on the smoker for another hour to an hour and a half. So I did also over the winter refurbish my oldest Coleman stove. This one's like 1975, 1976. It was my dad's. He gave it to me mid-80s, and I kept it in use really well till about the mid-90s when my wife and I first got together, and we were getting ready to go on a camping trip to Falls Creek Falls, and it crapped out on me, and didn't really have time to work on it then, so I put it off to the side in the shed and bought another one. And, that's where it stayed. But anyhow, I fixed it all up over the winter. I want to thank Robert at Bluegrass Bushcraft for supplying me with another fuel tank and generator rod. Other than that, it is all the original stove that my dad had given to me. So I'm going to give it a try today to cook the barley. And where are you at? And I'm just going to let that come up a little bit more to temperature. I've got, what I've got here, I've got 1 cup of pearl barley that I rinsed really well and then soaked this afternoon in some water. So I've taken in most of that. And then I'm going to cook it in about 2 cups, 2.5 cups of chicken broth. Let that come to a boil and then a simmer for, yeah, a good half hour or better. By then, the meat and all that stuff will be done. Alright, so while that's coming up, I'm going to get the prep work done for the pilaf, half of the barley pilaf, which is going to be medium onion, 1 carrot, cubed up really, both of them diced up really fine, a couple cloves of garlic, and about half a cup of frozen peas. And then that should it. Alrighty, so my barley is simmering pretty well. It's hot. Got some olive oil heating up. Running all over the place, but heating up just the same. And hopefully I don't get too much camera weight, but we're gonna saute the onions and the carrots. Mostly to soften up the carrots, but we're gonna let that get started. A little salt and pepper too while it does that. Tell you, I think I'm going to like these new salt and pepper shakers. Yeah. I'll let that soften up a little. Alright, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the frozen peas to the barley, let them kind of cook while there's still some liquid left in with the barley. And where, oh, there it is. I was not expecting my day to. It's been a great day, but it's a little fuller than I intended. You know, I didn't even get out here till noon. I should have got out here earlier in the morning. So anyhow, that's my own fault. But I'll get the rest of the setup done probably tomorrow, and then I'll be a little more organized. Thank you for bearing with me on the disorganized part. I think I'll add those little cloves of garlic now to that. That's almost done. We'll go out here and check on the meat here in a little bit. Alright, so this is just about all coming together now. So one thing I do want to do is add a little bit of turmeric. It's supposed to be half a teaspoon, so we'll try really carefully to get that close. What do you think? Okay. That's going to give it a nice little yellowy color, a little bit of spice. Yeah. Alright, sticking a little bit on this side. There we go. if you get something sticking to the bottom of your pans, you don't want to really scrape it really hard, because then that burnt part is going to get mixed in. So we'll just lightly graze over top of it. We're going to turn this down quite a bit. Going to mix these together. Drain most of the oil off. There's still a little bit in there. Not a lot. And we'll just let that. It is also supposed to have fresh parsley blended in there with it, but I don't have any. Neither did the store. So we're just going to turn all that off. Let it sit up for a few minutes. Alright, let's see how we did with it. Hopefully. Yeah. Oh yeah, he looks good. That looks real good. Alright. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave you guys for a few minutes. Bring most of this stuff in the house. I will be back out here. Show you the food and stuff, but we're not prepared to eat outside tonight. Probably next weekend before we do that. So we'll get all the food brought in the house, plated up, and then I'll be back. Alright, so let me show you how we did. I think it came up pretty good myself. There's cabbage. It's still a little firm, which is good. I like it that way. So carrots are really good. They absorbed that pickling spice. The meat. Let me tell you, I don't know how to explain the smoke flavor on it, but it's there, but it's not overpowering. Not like a mesquite smoke or a hickory would have. It's very subtle, like kind of like the hint of smoke you get from a hot dog. Maybe a little bit more than that, but that's what I'm trying to say. You can taste everything about the corned beef, and then a nice little cherry smoke layer on top of that. Oh, it's delicious. Nice and tender. It came out really good. Barley's done. Nice and that nutty, chewy texture you get from barley. Then the sauteed onions, and so it just complements it all the way around. So anyhow, thank you for hanging out with me today. I apologize about the chaos, but I'm trying to get camp set up too and cook a meal. And so it was fun, quite the challenge too. Anyhow, so thank you for hanging out, sharing my St. Patrick's Day birthday dinner, a little belated, but it's the first chance I got. So, and guess we'll see you next time.